Do not wait. The time will never be just right. Start where you stand and work with whatever tools you may have at your command. Napoleon Hill. Let that hit you. Not next week. Not when the money's right. Not when you feel ready. No, because here's the truth. 1 year, the next 12 months, could either be a vague blur, or it could be your rebirth. The year you stop running in circles and finally break the cycle. But it all starts with one thing, a decision. Imagine a train. Steel, powerful, unshakable. Now picture that train shifting just a few inches to the left. At first, you wouldn't even notice. But go 100 miles down the line, that train ends up in a completely different place. That's you. One decision, one small, silent shift, can rewrite your entire destiny. But most people, they're waiting for a sign, for clarity, for permission. Let me tell you something real. Decisions birth feelings, not the other way around. You don't wait to feel motivated. You move up, and the motivation follows. You might be sitting there right now thinking, what if I fail again? What if I give it everything and it still falls apart? What if I'm just not cut out for this? But my friend, what if that fear is the last barrier between you and everything you've ever wanted? What if the very thought keeping you small is the same one standing between the man you are and the one you're supposed to become? Every heartbreak, every breakdown, every moment you thought would break you, carried within it the seed of something greater. But only if you decide to use it. Not sit in it, but dwell on it. Use it. This is your train track moment. Shift just slightly. Make the call. Say yes to the thing that scares you. Say no to the things that steal your soul. The change won't feel big. In fact, it might feel invisible. But over time, it will change your entire destination. Real transformation doesn't come with fireworks. It comes with quiet decisions made in private, with no applause, no guarantee, just courage. You're not waiting for the right moment. You're stalling on the moment you already have. You are not lost. You're just one powerful decision away from being found. And that decision happens today. Success never looks like success in the beginning. Most great people have attained their greatest success just one step beyond their greatest failure. The Napoleon Hill. It's a strange thing, isn't it? You start doing the work. You wake up early, eat cleaner, think sharper, move differently. And for weeks, nothing happens. No applause, no transformation, no breakthrough, just silence. You look in the mirror and still see the old you. You check your results and they don't look like success. That's when most people give up. Not because they are weak, but because they never understood one simple truth. Success doesn't look like success at first. Imagine you're digging for gold. The map says it's there. Your gut says it's there. But day after day, all you hit is dirt. Doubt creeps in. Maybe the map is wrong. Maybe the gold is gone. Maybe you're just not built for this. But you're 3 feet from glory. And you don't know it. So you stop. You walk away. And someone else comes along, picks up your shovel, and strikes gold on their first try. Not because they're better, luckier. Not because they're luckier, but because they didn't quit when it got boring, quiet, or slow. That's the trap. Thinking it's not working just because it's not obvious. That's the lie you've been told your whole life. If you don't see fast results, it's probably not meant for you. But what if the results are still growing? Or you can't see them yet? What if your progress has roots forming underground? What if the silence is not failure but foundation? The caterpillar doesn't look like it's doing anything inside the cocoon. It looks still dead even. But inside, there's chaos, pitch back down, transformation. The same thing is happening to you. When you commit to something new, your habits begin to crack. Your patterns begin to shift. Your identity starts changing. It's messy. It's quiet. But it's working. That's how real elevation begins. In the unseen. And yes, it will feel like a waste at times. You'll question yourself. You'll look at people who took shortcuts and wonder why they seem ahead. But remember this. Quick success often leads to quiet collapse. They weren't ready for what they rushed into. But you're becoming solid, durable, proven in the fire. And that takes longer. That's why it's worth more. You may feel like nothing is working, but something is. Something always is. Every time you choose discipline over distraction, you're planting a seed. Every time you choose solitude over validation, you're growing deeper roots. Every time you keep going when no one's watching, you are becoming unstoppable. This journey will test your patience. That's the price. Most people are addicted to visible progress. They want before and after photos. They want numbers. They want applause. But if you can survive the phase where it feels like nothing is happening, you will enter the phase where nothing can stop you. So let me ask you, what if you're not behind at all? What if you're exactly where you're supposed to be? But you're just in the part of the story where the hero is still bleeding. What if the silence is not punishment, but preparation? Can you sit in that space without giving up? Can you keep planting even when nothing blooms? Because that's the real test. Not can you start, but can you stay? Can you keep believing when your ego wants proof? Can you keep showing up when the rewards haven't arrived yet? Let me be honest with you. Those moments when it feels like the universe is ignoring you, that's where your next level is forged. That's where greatness is earned. Not when it's easy, not when it's celebrated, but when it's lonely, thankless, and quiet. 1 year of obsession is louder than 10 years of interest. You can be anything you want to be if you give up the belief that you can. Napoleon Hill, let me be straight with you. Interest doesn't move mountains. Interest doesn't change your life. Interested, that polite voice in your head whispering, it would be nice if... But obsession? Obsession is the fire in your chest screaming, I'll die trying. 1 year of healthy, focused, purpose-driven obsession can outperform an entire decade of casual dreaming. That's the truth. But most people are scared to look intent, too worried about being misunderstood, too hooked on comfort to go all in. They want to tiptoe around their goals, flirt with their future, without ever committing to it fully. But let me paint the picture for you. Imagine a rocket ship. For the first 80% of its fuel, it's not even flying. It's just fighting gravity. All that energy, all that noise, all that fire pieces to break free from the pull of the past. That's what the first year of obsession feels like. You're not soaring yet. You're not coasting. You're just tearing away from the old you. Old habit, old identities, old distractions. And most people, they cut the engine too soon. They quit before the launch. They say things like, I've been trying. Maybe it's not for me. I'm still figuring it out. No, you're just not obsessed enough. Because when you're obsessed, you stop playing. You stop bargaining with your potential. You stop negotiating with your limitations. You marry your goals. You restructure your life around them. You stop asking, what do I feel like doing today? And you start asking, What does my future require of me today? Obsession isn't dangerous. It's focused. It's disciplined. It's the decision to give more than you take. Let me clear something up. I'm not asking you to burn out. I'm asking you to burn bright. There's a difference. Burnout is scattered energy. Obsession is align energy. It's when your body, mind, and spirit are all pointed in the same direction. That's power. And that kind of power, that kind of daily, locked-in intensity, that's how legacies are built. Let's kill the lie right now. The lie that slow, safe, lukewarm effort will get you anywhere worth going. It won't. Interest doesn't build empires. Interest doesn't give you freedom. Obsession does. Obsession is what wakes you up before the alarm clock. Obsession is what makes you study when everyone else is partying. Obsession is what makes you practice when nobody's clapping, when nobody's watching, when nobody even cares yet. Have you ever seen someone who's truly locked in? Their eyes have that stillness, that quiet fire, that energy that says, I'm not here to play. That energy is contagious, and you can become that person. But it won't happen if you keep dabbling. It won't happen if you keep flirting with improvement. It starts with a bold question. What would happen if I gave everything for 1 year? What would your life look like if you didn't make excuses? If you didn't pause every time it got hard? If you poured your soul into your body, your craft, your purpose? 1 year of that kind of focus could put you in rooms most people never even imagine. Could create opportunities you never thought possible. Could free you from the cycles that have held you hostage for years. The next day, Bill hired me. To say the joke was real, my aunt was in cancer mode. Well, a good hit, by the way. So here's the real question. Are you interested, or are you obsessed? Are you casually improving, or are you at war with the version of you that keeps dragging you back into mediocrity? Because here's the raw truth. Obsession will cost you. It will cost you comfort. It will cost you popularity. It will cost you ease. But in return, it will give you power. It will give you clarity. It will give you transformation and a life that finally feels like it belongs to you. So don't let anyone water down your fire. Don't shrink yourself to make indecisive people feel comfortable. This year, be relentless. Be intense. Be misunderstood. Be unstuck. Most people quit right before the tipping point. Effort only fully releases its reward after a person refuses to quit. Napoleon Hill. Have you ever wondered why some people are always almost there? Almost successful, almost in shape, almost free, but never quite breaking through? Here's why. They quit 3 feet from gold. Not because they're lazy, not because they lack talent, but because they misread the silence. They mistake the quiet before the breakthrough for failure. They think the storm means they're going the wrong way, when really it's the final test before the reward. Let me tell you something real. Right before it gets better, it almost always gets worse. That's the final exam. The universe asking, did you mean it when you said you wanted this? And most people, they flinch. They take the pain as a sign to quit, when in reality, it's just the price of entry. It's like boiling water. You turn up the heat. 10 dig, 20 dig, 50 dig, 90 dig, 99 dig. Still nothing. No steam. No movement. Just silence. But everything is building. 1 more degree, 100 degree, and the breakthrough erupts. That's life. Most people give up at 99 dg. Not because they didn't care, but because they didn't trust the process. They think, If it were meant to be, it would be easier. But what if the difficulty is the confirmation? What if the pain, the pressure, the stillness isn't punishment, but preparation? Everyone loves the idea of transformation, but no one talks about the part where nothing makes sense, where you're doing the work, changing your habits, waking up early, staying consistent, and yet no results. That's where your old self dies, not with a bang, but in quiet, repeated moments of discipline. You're digging every day, listed hands, exhausted, alone, and you're this close to gold. Patient, but you can see it. And if you walk away now, someone else will come along, pick up your shovel, and strike gold on their first try. Not because they're better than you, not because they worked harder, but because you stopped too soon. Here's the truth. Success doesn't come to the most talented. It comes to the most relentless. The ones who stay when it's boring, when it's quiet, when it feels like it's not working. They're the ones who break through, not because of magic, but because they refuse to quit. So if it feels like nothing's happening right now, that's your sign to keep going. You're in the loading zone, the space between intention and manifestation. The most sacred, most dangerous place on your journey. Can you stay faithful in the silence? Can you keep working when no one's watching? Can you stay focused when there's no applause? Here's the paradox. The longer you can move without seeing results, the bigger the results you'll eventually see. The deeper the roots, the stronger the tree. But most people, they're addicted to instant proof, to metrics, to validation. They don't want the truth. They want the feeling of progress, even if it's fake. But not you. You're different. You're willing to wait for real growth. You're willing to sweat in the shadows so you can rise in the light. So let me ask you something deep. What if you're not behind it all? What if you're exactly where you're supposed to be, but in the part of the story where the hero is still bleeding? Would you keep going? Could you sit in that pain and not run from it? Could you keep digging, knowing the gold might be just 3 more swings away? Because that's what separates the ones who talk from the ones who transform, the dabblers from the relentless, the almosts from the undeniable. Don't quit at 99 dig. Don't walk away 3 feet from gold. Don't mistake silence for failure. Because the tipping point, it's closer than you think. And when it hits, it won't whisper. It will roar.